First part of getting the Wookiee sound correct is gaining control over the uvula for me. Other people can roll their tongues to try and create this effect, but it's hard because when you roll your tongue, your tongue is close to the roof of your mouth, up sort of. See, for me, it's up there, sort of, as opposed maybe other people, their tongue is down there. I'm not. I can't roll my tongue down low. So the other tutorial on YouTube on doing the Chewbacca sound via rolling the tongue does not work for me. So we'll do the rolling the uvula technique. Now, as you breathe in and out, there's a very good tutorial on this, which I'll link in the description, because it's easy to hear him do it. That is the breathing in part of the getting around to it. See, just starts off by sort of breathing in, and that sort of rolls the air comes past the uvula, the dangly thing in the back, and makes a sort of sound. You can sort of hear me there do it, I'm sort of making an almost car sort of sound with it, and I've usually always done, but I've never made the connection until quite recently, let's say about 6 months ago. So, if I may, it's sort of around there. If you can make that sound, you're sort of part of the way there. The next step is to try and control that a bit more. I found that when I was doing that sort of sound in conjunction with, a yawn, I was able to create the sound a lot easier, and it was sort of a way for me to sort of try and develop my ability to do the noise. So when I'm talking about yawning, I'm not talking really about actually I almost did it then. I'm trying to do a sort of a wide mouth open sort of yawn. Almost like when you're going up in altitude and you sort of yawn, and that sort of makes your ears pop a little bit. It's that sort of yawn that you want to use, and when you're breathing out with that yawn, you should be able to. I think the best way to describe this is when you do that yawn, it sort of pushes your tongue into the optimal position to do the Wookiee noise. And as soon as you figure that out, you'll be able to sort of do that enough times and get your tongue into the correct position to do that noise by itself normally. And I'll try almost. Yeah, it's a bit hard to do it when you're trying to think about it. That's one thing. Just don't try and look at a computer screen or something, or watch a YouTube video and think and watch a Chewbacca video when you try. It's a lot easier to do it, say, when you're lying in bed reading a book and you're not really thinking about it. You just sort of yawn and then accidentally do it. Anyway, now that we've got the rolling the uvula part down pretty much. So you can roll it, and you've yawned, and you've got all that down. You can actually sort of make it go at the very least. You get onto moving the tongue and creating different airflows, and therefore creating different sounds. With me, I think there are three. So we've got the three main tongue positions, really. We've got the tongue sort of down below when I do the noise, and I didn't really know where the tongue was until I sort of tried to figure it out. It's when I've sort of got my teeth bared and I'm making the noise. I will demonstrate now. And when I'm doing this, sort of the middle area of my tongue, about there-ish, is sort of pressed beneath, it's sort of pressed to the bottom of my tongue. There's a little tip that's sort of still coming up. So, if you will, my tongue is almost like there. So that's the bottom, and there's my teeth. So if you get... Now, the next one that I do is where I'm sort of doing a sort of more, trying to get through a more angry sound, sort of a second continuous sort of growl into there, which is basically like this. And that's with the sort of tongue in a very overt position, isn't it? Oops, sorry. I'm sorry. That's just me. Anyway, so the tongue is it's sort of pressing against the back of the gums at the bottom of your tongue, and also the teeth. So the tip of my tongue is actually sort of about there, and then a little bit at the front is also pressing against it. But it's not what you need. It's not 100% required. Rather, it's just a way that I've sort of done it, and that's what the way things feel to me. I'm sure you'll possibly find a way to do the Wookiee noise with your tongue like this, maybe. I don't know. It might create something different and interesting, and maybe we could one day all make a Wookiee language that has more than how to say hello and goodbye, and my arm's been pulled out of its socket. So the other way that I do the sound is with the tongue sort of touching the roof of my mouth. But with that, I sort of start with the teeth bared a little bit, and sort of goes out, and sort of the mouth changes and creates a deeper sound at the end. So as you can see there. So when you've got those I would say when you've got those three key techniques down, I would suggest moving on to the grunts and the guttural sounds of the Shiriwook language.